Hey there, you anti-Sijua. Um, okay, so we're trying to get those creative juices flowing for season 2 of Manga Macabre, but I got nothing, and I gave myself a hard deadline for getting it done, so I figure let's try something different for a change and talk about something weird and personal that I don't do a lot, because I've always been afraid of boring the shit out of people, but oh shit, I'm doing it right now. Oh god, my nightmares are coming true. Okay. Well, anyway, let me tell you about the time I joined a cult. Um, yeah. So for a couple of years, I was one of those Jehovah's Witnesses, which is really weird if you know me. But this was like shortly before my edge lord atheist phase, and yeah, I guess we're gonna talk about cults now. On the scale of like cult, that's the wrong hand. I'm looking at me filming. On the scale of like cult 1 to 10, I would put them at like a two, like maybe a three. Like they still do all that culty stuff, but they don't make you like eat your own head. They don't make you die. Yeah, that's a good one. Um, so I just want to say now, so their whole shtick is they don't seem to be too terribly interested in like people of entirely different faiths. Like if you're Buddhist, they're probably not too horribly interested in you. If you're like Muslim or atheist or whatever have you, they're not horribly interested. If you're like, monotheism, that's my favorite. My boy, God had he's a single dad. He's a single dad with his son Jesus. That's who they're looking for. That's who they're after. Um, because a lot of what they talk about is very contingent on the basic teachings of Christianity. But their whole shtick is they call God by name, Jehovah, um, which to my understanding isn't entirely wrong, but most scholars normally go with Yahweh. And I think his name is put in the Bible a couple of times. So yeah, that's their whole shtick, and they're saying, these other guys, fuck them. I don't like them. Those Catholics, those other guys, they got the wrong fucking idea. So once they get you in, once you're listening to them, they'll say shit like, "Well, what does the future really hold? Like, what's gonna happen after you die?" That whole generic religious spiel, usually to pick on you, like when you're not pick on you because I don't think it's particularly malicious. Controlling, yes, but outright like malicious, no, because there's no like, or at least to my understanding, there's like no one guy calling the shot. Like it feels like a very government like system where orders are coming like from so on high, not God. They're coming from so on high that there's no real use in arguing with it. Um, and for me as a black person in like the Bay Area, most of my exposure to church is like generic Southern Baptist, where there's no real unified system of doing things outside of get your baptism, and I don't really know what's the difference between this one Protestant and the other. I'm not sure because we have a church on every street corner, and yeah, a lot of weirdness there. Yeah, so I guess they're sort of niche. And I can honestly only talk about this in the context of being black, because I'm sure for everyone else it's different, and not in the social justice everyone's different way. No, in the sense of like this is going to become relevant later in the story. Um, yeah, so their whole shtick is like being a very organized group. Like the little books that you see them handing out to people in a bunch of different languages, like they're all giving out the same book. Like if you talk to a Jehovah's Witness in China, like they're gonna have a Chinese translation of that same book. It's like a little magazine that they do called the Watchtower, and they have like a bunch of these, like a bunch of different levels of the Watchtower. Like there's the baby version, that's the one you're getting. Then there's like a level 2 version, and I don't really know what comes after that because I kind of dropped it after. Um, yeah, so so let's say hypothetically, one is like, hey, do you want to? They knock on your door. Hey, you want to know what happens after you die? And they'll explain the whole shtick to you that, oh, God has a name. He wants please call him by. We're on first name basis with the big G. With the big G, it's Jehovah. And they insist on that really hard. Like if Link has being a mute, and Ryu has Hadoukens, and Goku has Kamehameha waves, then Jehovah's Witnesses have the whole Jehovah, we gotta call him by the first name thing. Everyone else he does. And this is very interesting when you start drilling them for details. Is that their things like, oh, yeah, we call them that because we gotta make sure that we know who we're talking about, you know? You don't want to get confused by any of these false gods, which they love to insist that other sections of Christianity are like worshiping a false god. Which always seems like which is a classic no true Scotsman fallacy. Like that is the actual no true Scotsman taken to the nth degree. Like, oh, well, how do we know which one you're talking about? When you try to press on details like, well, how many guys have a divine son named Jesus? And oh yeah, speaking of that, so another thing they do, they like to insist. They love to insist on this one. Jesus on the cross. Nope. Bad taste. You don't do that, because if you had a kid that was shot, you don't just walk around with a necklace of a gun. Like, you don't look in your locket and go, here's my, here's, there, that's the gun. That's the gun they shot him with. Ooh, pew pew pew. So that's their logical justification thereof. And I guess they like to go on about like, oh well, for some reason that I'm really not sure of, it's very important to specify that Jesus didn't die on a cross. He died on a post or maybe an oak tree or something like that. I'm not sure how that's relevant to anything, but they're really big on insisting it. Like a big old stake. Like, imagine a cross, but instead of the little, that part, it doesn't have that. That's very important to them for some reason. So yeah, you let them in your place because they're knocking on your door for whatever reason. I got into it because my mom did, and I was in high school, so I didn't really have a choice in the matter. And then they go, oh well, you know, if you're showing up, like if you're willing to hear us out, tell you what if you come on down to one of our Bible things, come on down on your Sunday church, and we'll chill for it. We'll crack a cold one with the boys. Is what I'm trying to say. That's what they do, and it's structured like a lecture, like a college lecture, like do your homework, read pages 1 through 40, and if you don't, then you're gonna be a little bit lost. Like it's a high school fucking situation. And again, they're all doing this. Like they have an organized thing going on. Like they have a curriculum, if you will, giving like roughly the same lectures wherever you go. And they try to like make that a selling point. Like, no matter where you go, God will be with you. Kind of like McDonald's. Jehovah's Witnesses like to brand themselves as the McDonald's of religion. Like, ooh, I don't know this new town. Let's go down to what's it called? The Temple? I think they just call it the Temple. Yeah, let's just go on down there and get ourselves some God burger. Yeah, so we went there, and I met a guy whose name I won't mention. Yeah, I'm not, because no one here is malicious. Like, there's a lot of weirdness, but no one is like, yeah, just go ahead and drink that fucking Kool-Aid. No, it seems to be more of a misguided thing. Like, they love getting you when, you know, just like any other cult, when you're, you know, at your lowest point and you just need some just straight up guidance. Like, you need to be outright instructed on what to do. That's commonly when they get you. So if you come in and you're digging their temple thing, I guess. They'll say, well, let's, you know, hook you up with the Bible study. And this is about the deepest layer I get into it. That's fine. So they set you up with one of their like senior members who've been there for a while. 'Cause there are various like tiers to it. Um, and like every whatever day you want throughout the week, you guys set up an appointment. That's like pretty regular to go over parts of their specific version of the Bible, which is like I'm pretty sure it's based on the New King James version. Like I'm 100% sure of this. But basically rewritten to where bits about God specifically say, Jehovah, and to just like not be written in ye olde English. I'm personally not privy to knowing a bunch of other languages, but I do know a lot about localization. So a lot of the things that they kind of insist on seem like things that, like, looking at the side-by-side comparison with the New James Version, seem like the kind of thing that would be primed to be lost in translation. Like, again, cross and post, like they're both referring to a big bit of wood. Like, that seems like the kind of thing that, like, a translator would say, I'm not 100% sure what they're trying to say here. But yeah, they give you like your own Bible, and also their church is weird and organized, like really organized. Like again, at this point in my life, like I'm I guess technically agnostic, because I'm like, oh well, I don't know about this whole Southern Baptist situation. And the idea of like having a very organized system, because I'm just weird like that. Was like, oh, it's not so bad. They seem to have a very structured system to it, so I may as well hear them out, like no harm in it. And also I live with my mom, so there's nothing I can really do about it. Yeah, so you go to their house, and they have a weekly meeting for like usually an hour and a half or 2 hours, where they'll go over their bit of the Bible with like a very small textbook. I was gonna say where they're getting the funding for it, but of course donations, duh. Yeah. So they do that, and whenever a holiday would come around, that thing that they say about like no holidays, that's true. That's true. They think that's of the devil. They think that's a different guy. That Jesus Christmas birthday thing you do, nope. Don't do that. Now, to my understanding, no one's really holding a gun over, no one's holding a gun to your head for this. Which is probably the chief reason why they're kind of on like the low end of cult stuff, because I don't think they necessarily ask for like huge swaths. Like they do ask you for money, that's for sure. Like I think the ideal is about 10%, but they don't necessarily want you to like hand over your whole life savings, or at least to my memory, it didn't. This is over 10 years ago. Where was I? Oh yeah, the Bible study. Yeah, so each week they have a different lesson for you in the textbook, and you'll get to like you're supposed to actually read it. Like this is homework. Like, okay, read that bit of the Bible, and we'll go back over it on the the study day. So then once you do that over the course of like I want to say 6 months, but I don't remember. I think it is 6 months. Like you'll actually know a pretty good chunk of the Bible. Like they expect you to like be able to know what order the shit's in, which I guess is kind of helpful. Well, not helpful, but useful. Like you're supposed to like have a basic outline of where to find shit in the Bible. Like, okay, we'll find 1 Corinthians 13:2, and you go, oh, okay, I think that's about in the middle or something. I don't remember. It might be in the middle. I honestly don't remember. I erase that religion with anime. Yeah, so once you go deeper, like one of the things they teach you along the way is like, okay, so here's the whole heaven thing. Yes, 144,000 people, they get to go to heaven, like God's chillest dudes. His top elite brohams, the chattest of the Christians, or Chadstons, really. And they're all going to be Jehovah's Witnesses. Now, you're probably not going to be one. Like, realistically, if you join up, they tell you it's probably not going to be you, because not everyone can be like fucking Walt Disney. Not everyone can be Steve Jobs. Not everybody can go to heaven. So here's what the shtick is. All right. So Jesus is going to come back, I guess, and he's going to say, okay, tell you what, everybody, we're going to go in for life round 2. He's going to blow his trumpet, or what's a meme horn they do? There we go, song of time. That's it. That wasn't a meme horn, but yeah, he's gonna do that, and everybody's gonna come back to life. Everybody who's ever lived, dad, granddad, cremated. I don't know. I did ask that. I did ask what happens if you're cremated, and they go, well, you'll come back. You'll be good. Okay, what if you're like buried 6 feet under? Are you good? Sure. They'll get on up. They're very specific about like you will actually fucking get up, which my whole Bible study took way longer because I couldn't fucking get over that. Like, they're very specific that these are literal. Like, they're talking in very literal terms here, or at least a good chunk of it. I can't fucking believe it. Like, yeah, dude, the ashes will just, like, they'll just come back together, like, which then, begs the question, and I think I did ask this and didn't get an answer, or I think the answer is, I don't know, man, you gotta have faith. It's, okay, so hypothetically, what happens if I eat someone's ashes, and I digest those ashes, and part of those ashes, like, I don't know, becomes semen or something, right? Because, I'm using their nutrients, or I poop them out now. And it's fertilizing grass now. So now those remnants are now sperm. They are now grass. And let's say I get someone pregnant, and that lucky sperm is now a whole nother person. Will that whole other person lose a couple of cells to go back to the other guy? Will that plant stop being? And I think the answer may have been, I don't know, man, you gotta have faith. It's magic, dude. Which I guess I probably should have expected. Shouldn't have drilled too hard for an answer, because, like, what other answer are you gonna give? Yeah, so everybody, you're gonna come back for a couple of minutes, and by a couple of minutes, I think it was either 1,000 years or 10,000 years. It's one of those two. And you're all gonna be chilling for a minute. It's gonna be just like regular life, except for, longer. Okay, and then once that's done, Jesus is gonna come back and go, okay, guys, bonus round's over. I don't know why I had to do all that shit the first time around. With those crusades and, all that other human shit you did. But, round 2 is when it really matters. So now that, every atheist who said, well, show me proof, in the 10,000 years you'll see proof, God will be like, hey, what's going on? It's me, God. You tell he has a little name tag, and it'll say Yahweh, so he's gonna open up the cloud and go, hey, God, like, hey guys, it's me, God. How's it going down there? It's your boy. It's your boy God. So you won't have an excuse. There's no more excuses anymore. No more. Well, what if he was Jewish, but he was a chill dude? You'll know. You'll know. Yeah. So then once all that's said and done, Jesus will go, okay, let's sort out everyone who was a dick. Like Hitler, I guess you're getting a second chance, but you tried it again. We had to foil your fucking plans again. Hitler, you're going to hell. But actually, I lied. There's actually no hell. You're just obliterated. God just obliterates you. Yeah, so everyone who was a dick in the 10,000 year bonus round is just obliterated. You're done. You're donezo. Like you cease to exist. And everybody else who was cool, besides the 144,000 people, if I'm not mistaken, I think the 144,000 people get to chill out with angels. But I think the angels are kind of buzzkills. From what I remember thinking that a little bit. Or maybe though they will be the angels. I don't remember. But they're God's chaddest. The chaddest of the chads. The virgin 10,000-year-old saint and the Chad angels, or whatever have you. And yeah, once Jesus says, okay, I've looked over the name of all 18 billion of you, and everyone who's a dick gets to be obliterated, and then he does it, he says, all right, devil, you too, you're getting obliterated too. So he goes, Pew! Oh wait, no. Pew! And just matches them away, I guess. Um, oh yeah, and then there's the devil. So the logic for like, well, if God made blah blah blah, then the whole whence cometh evil. They have a picture of this. They have a picture of this. So the whole Garden of Eden and the devil thing is like, you know how in class where there'll be like one kid's like, well, I could do this way better than the teacher can. Teacher's like, okay, well, fine, let's see you fucking do it. Go ahead, dumbass Timmy. You can't read. Teach the class how to do math. I'll wait. You fucking, you fucking dingus. Um, that is basically what happened with God and the devil, and that's whence cometh evil. Whence cometh evil is God going, do it, bitch. Go ahead. Let's see you teach him how to. See, it's fine because I'm going to give him a 10,000 a year round too. It's fine. We're giving him a discount. I've caused billions to die specifically for this. It's good. It's good. I promise. Yeah. So that happened. Their thing about the blood transfusions, that is from a line of the Bible that says something to the effect of "Don't take in blood," and they consider like no, it's like in the King James version, it's like don't eat blood, like don't eat blood, like don't like go. That's good human blood. Goat blood. Don't do that. And I guess the way that they chose to interpret that line is don't take in blood, like don't ingest it. And they basically count that as the same thing, like eating, I don't know, sugar. It's the same as like just shooting fucking sugar into your veins. So drinking blood is the same as shooting more blood into your veins. So no blood transfusions. They have some other shit that, to my understanding, doesn't work. Yeah, my mom thought about having that and said, you know what? We all sin. I don't want to take a risk on this fake blood shit that doesn't work. I don't remember what it was called, but I'm sure like if you went like blood transfusion replacement, you'll probably find it, and they insist that it's fine, but I don't have the full details, but I hear it's just fucking nonsense. I believe that. I believe it, but I don't know. I don't have the numbers on it, but I've heard it's bullshit. Not entirely, but just like, how like fake sugar isn't as good as regular sugar. I think it's like that. Fake blood isn't as good as regular blood. Any vampire will let you know, I promise. Also, I think magic is real. So with most like Christian stuff, the whole thing about like don't do magic, I think most modern day interpretations like are comfortable with saying like magic doesn't exist. Like Harry Potter is not real, and we don't do it because we consider it like obscene. Like it disrupts your relationship with like God, who is also like a supernatural entity. So we want to keep the real supernatural stuff away from the fake supernatural stuff. And partially like old people don't like this new shit. Oh no, that's why Pokemon is bad. That's why Yu-Gi-Oh is bad. Yeah, so their thing is like, no, dude, it's real. Like, I promise you it's real. Like, with that Harry Potter one, demons got it. They just took over it. They make bad shit happen, so you gotta keep that away from you. You gotta keep those bad associations away from you. And this is about the point where I said, okay, well, I don't know about that. Like, the other ones, I'm willing to put in the back of my head, and go, I don't know, maybe, we'll see. Yeah, actually, I got a great, oops, wrong finger. I got a great visual reference right there. Vivi is the thing that got me to say, no, fuck this cult shit, I'm out of here. Because I thought about it. I always main sorcerers, man. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't really have to be a vampire. Like if I get hit by a car and need some blood, then I die. I guess I fucking die because I don't have the concept of death yet because I'm 16. Um, Holidays, well, I don't really have a whole lot of family, so like I'm not really losing a whole lot there. Um, uh, but that one, I don't know. I don't know. Like you can't have me ditch magic. Like sorry, dog. I main Zelda. Well, no, I don't. I main Ganon. His attacks say wizard punch and wizard kick. I can't ditch that. I can't ditch it. Sorry. I gotta draw the line somewhere. And this is the hill I'm dying on. The magic one. I don't think magic is real. But if you tell me, oh, don't do that shit that makes you happy. No. I can't do it. I'm not doing that one. So thanks, Vivi. Thanks, Final Fantasy. You fucking saved me from being super religious because I was low key into it. Yeah. So the whole door to door thing. So as far as I can tell, in the last couple of years, that's kind of slowed down. I don't know if that's everywhere, but like where I am in the last like 10 years, I've had like one person come to my door, and in the last 3 or 4 years, they're like way less aggressive about like getting people to join. Like what they like to do is have like people in suits, usually like older, respectable looking people, or to get these youngins, attractive young people. They try to get you in that way, and they just kind of stand around places where there are a lot of people, like a BART. It doesn't mean anything. Like a subway station, or like a stadium maybe, or just like large public metropolitan places. Like they just kind of stand there, and if you want to come up and talk to them, come up and talk to them. And if you don't, that's fine too. Like sometimes they might strike up conversation, but I think they're being told to be less aggressive. But they do have like an organized thing for that. Like once you hit like the level 2, like once you finish the first Bible study like course, then I think on Tuesdays, you go to like this thing where you go door to door. Like that's a place you learn how to fucking do it. I only went to one because I just didn't feel comfortable pushing religion on people. I mean, I do feel comfortable pushing like my video game views on people, but religion, I don't know. I have too much social anxiety for that kind of thing, But from what I can remember, it's like a year-long program, or ooh, wow, that's a lot of glare. It's like a year-long program or something. It takes like a long-ass fucking time to do. And then at the end of that program, oh, wow, that's so much fucking glare. Jesus. God doesn't want this video to happen, guys. He's on to me. And watch as I fucking die as soon as this video's over, so you never see it because they don't want the truth out there. Yeah, so they have you like go to their school thing, and and you learn how to tell them about it. You learn all the tips and tricks and all that good stuff. But you gotta, like, it's treated as an honor to have the privilege of going like to the school thing, and that's why like people are just like, if you ever wonder, like, damn, it takes a lot of fucking gall to tell people their fucking religion's wrong in like rain, sleet, or snow. Yeah, they're being trained to do that. Like the same way, I'm trained as an accountant, don't post things to the wrong month, or a garbage man, don't sniff the garbage. Yeah, they're trained to just get out there and just fucking do it because you're doing the right thing, and if people don't want to hear it, then I guess they don't want to hear it. But you are, as far as religion, by the way, you are obligated to tell them about it. Like, if you had the fucking antidote to, like, fucking poison, like, you'd be a fucking dickhead if you didn't tell people, right? Yeah. So that's how that basically works. So when you finish that, it's considered a double honor to be able to go out and be a missionary. I don't know what the word is called for it. But you go out there, and if you're just learning, if you haven't done this before for the first like 6 months, you're not even allowed to talk. You just sit there with the old person who's been doing this for a minute, and you just politely smile and nod. You don't say a word to the people you're trying to convert. You just take in the good word of the Lord, or something like that. So anyway, the more cult-like qualities of it is they're organized to a point of being uncomfortable. Like, again, specifically referencing this me being black is going to come up. So they're very keen on, oh, well, yeah, we don't really discriminate here because we're all doing it the same way. But it resonated to me specifically how they did have a big international cast of people like depicted on their art book or whatever have you. But they're all praising like a very blonde hair, blue-eyed white Jesus. And at the time, I am big into history. Like, I am planning on, going to college and getting a history major. And, boy, did that resonate foully with me. Like, that made me really uncomfortable because there aren't any white guys, like, in this picture besides, the big man himself. So that kind of, like, not like, oh, these guys are fucking racist and do. Because I don't think so. Like, not in the direct sense. Not in, like, the, ooh, we don't care much for these African American individuals. Let's boop, 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 boop. Well, I'm gonna call the cops. Hello, cop. This man was being black outside. Sorry, when I'm recording this, I'm aging myself. When I'm recording this, the newest hottest meme is I guess news reports that say police called while black man was doing something perfectly legal, and the cop said, "Why did you call me here?" I love those, by the way. I hate them, but I love them. I love how the cops always seem visibly very confused. But yeah, that hit a sour note with me because that sounds like a very colonialist thing to do. And when you draw like a direct parallel for that, for me, that kind of implies that this isn't a divine entity telling me this. This is a person telling me this, which is the thing that kind of made me go, this is just another fucking religious thing. I don't know. But another thing they tried to do, which didn't really affect me too much because I already had a group of friends and they didn't really have the ability to, like a lot of cults do, ostracize me from them, was because I was in high school. And like I think early college, high school and early college, I think. Ooh, wow! I wonder if you check out those Pokemon videos I made back then. Do I mention it? I don't think so. I don't think so because it was probably during like really fucking long hiatuses that I always do, which have not changed. That has not changed at all. Yeah, so they didn't really have the ability to do that because I already had a group of friends and I couldn't really not see them because I'm in public school. It would take a lot of money to remove me from public school and put me into like a private other Christian school, which would probably have been low-key even worse because it's easy to kind of say, oh, your buddies over there, they're doing that devil stuff. They're watching their devil mans, which wasn't at all popular yet, and I don't think I knew what devil man was at the time. They're doing that shit, so don't do that shit. Which is very hard because I still basically did all the stuff that I did beforehand, such as masturbating and wizard shit. I did try to stay away from witchcraft stuff and try to do mental gymnastics and like try to, okay, well maybe I won't, spec my Dungeons and Dragon character for magic. Maybe if I just do it for alchemy that looks exactly like magic, that'll be just fine. So that's another way that like the religious mental gymnastics can work in a very non outright lying to yourself way, or in a way that, like, I think my audience and maybe a younger audience may be more able to grok. Like, maybe the idea of saying, I'm no longer going to do something fun doesn't really work, or saying, I'm never going to do this again doesn't work, but the idea of, I'm going to slightly adjust things that I, already do to see if I can, like, mentally do some backflips to make it work. Like, changing what D&D character you use, or think about what shows you're watching. I mean, I still watch them, but, I'd feel really guilty about it. And then, like, yeah, towards the end of the program, I felt myself asking, like, a lot of questions. And that's bad. Mostly because they didn't really have the option to cut me off from other sources, and I'm someone that needs to know exactly how stuff works. Like, it's really hard to sell me on something unless if I know the zeros and ones to it. Like, I'm not going to, necessarily believe in magic until you can explain to me, like, how it works. Like, even if you don't know the exact mechanisms, but confirm that there are, like, solidified mechanisms in which that makes it go. Like, if I'm a wizard that shoots fire, right? How does it go? Like, you have to be making, like, you have to be burning something, or there has to be some type of resource that you're consuming to make it go. Like, even if that resource is otherworldly, like, something has to be causing it. And, like, if that entity is God, then I need to, like, easier verification that this is a being of, like, infinite energy. And if they have infinite energy, why are we only seeing it in, like, very finite amounts? Like, how does something that's infinite quantify something that's finite? Like, how do I take off a piece of infinity, if that makes any sense? Like, that's my phone. Like, if I had a mountain that's infinity feet tall, and yeah, like, if I had a mountain that's infinity feet tall, how do I quantify taking a small portion of it? Like, what constitutes small? Which, maybe doesn't make sense, but it did to me, and that made me ask questions, which is bad. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized I wasn't going to get any answers, and the guy I was working with, who actually, was a nice enough guy, although, he was in a cult, pretty much said, all right, listen, man, listen, kiddo, sit down. I didn't have a lot of questions. I'm going to put it to you like this, okay? And you thought this was the ace in the fucking hole. You gotta have faith. That's pretty much it. You gotta have, listen, if you got even just a tiny bit of faith, and you just roll with that, you're good. And I realized, I dug deep, I took like 3 weeks to think about it, really depressed and shit, and said, yeah, I ain't got that much. I don't have that much. Sorry. Like, if you told me, okay, dude, if you just jump off this fucking cliff, God will catch you. How? Like, citations needed, my man. Citations needed. So eventually I just said, okay, listen, man, it's been real, but I gotta go. It was actually really awkward, and also a little fitting, because the last session, the final session for the first step, was just us sitting down and playing games and just philosophizing about the fucking games. Like, there was no Bible there. It just felt like a scene from a fucking movie where we're just playing chess over and over. And I knew that, there has to be a way to win at chess. There has to be a system here. But I honestly just don't, I just don't know. And just because I don't know, that doesn't mean that, like, there's no system to winning at this. It's just a system that I don't know. And that is kind of how I felt about religion at the time. Because, yeah, like this was, like, before before the like skeptic community was a thing. This is like before, I don't know, like the Atheist Experience, before like Amazing Atheist, before I think ContraPoints was doing stuff before she transitioned. But yeah, this was like before her first round of doing stuff, which I forget her YouTube name before that, but at least I think that was her. I think that was her. Whatever. Like before all these guys, and even before, you know, a large section of these guys came out as like really awful misogynist fedora guys. This is long before that era, although not long, like maybe like a year or so before, to be honest. And yeah, so I didn't really know how to counter argument with these guys because, you know, I didn't really have the internet. I didn't really have access to like the God Delusion or, you know, Richard Dawkins. That didn't have none of that. But I knew there was something off here, and I couldn't quite put my finger on it. And I said, you know what, this is getting a little weird. This made me a little bit uncomfortable. You're telling me to do stuff that, you know, like, don't do the shit I like doing. And I think honestly the downfall of it, and you know, what may end up being the downfall of like religion as an entity, or at least in the West anyway, is a lack of young people. Because, you know, they didn't really have the ability to ostracize me from my friends. They did for my mother. But the thing that got her is that she has a very long history with addiction. And, you know, as they say with addiction, you know, if no one wants to change but you, and you don't want to change, then, you know, you're just not going to. And that kind of ended up being the thing that got her to say, nope, sorry, I like cigarettes and booze too much for this. And, you know, if I can't stick to this, you know, one relatively easy tenet of, like, don't say fuck, don't say Jesus fucking Christ, you know, don't eat junk food, which I do all the time, then I just kind of figured, I can't really do it. And yeah, like on the scale of 1 to colthood, they get a 2, because no one, or at least on the level that I was really pointing a gun at me. Specifically because I didn't really have any friends. Because a big thing about it is that, and maybe this kind of thing would have hit me a little harder if I was like a little bit older, like even older than I am now. I was just saying, well, people that are a little bit older, like 30-ish, have, you know, a much harder time making friends. So, you know, what if we're all your friends? And if we're all your friends, and we all decide that we don't like what you're doing, we can just cut you off. Because a big thing about what they want you to do, this is another very culty element, is again, ostracizing you from the people that you know. Like telling you, hey, if your buddy is doing some shit that, you know, isn't okay, you can't do it. And it's the same, from what they're telling me, the same basic tenet as the no magic thing. Because not only does the devil love, and demons and stuff, like, love all that shit with magic, they also just love general misdeeds. Like, they love hanging around with people that are doing, you know, bad stuff. So you got to make sure you're not hanging out with them. So that's their method of, you know, getting you, you know, away from your buddies. And, you know, they catch you still doing that, like, that person who caught you has an obligation to tell, you know, the other people of your congregation or whatever that, you know, oh man, I caught Bob snorting coke or something. I think they do have a system for if they catch you doing drugs, though. That, I don't remember the full details, but I know they have something that at least started like a thing that you should do when you catch someone doing, like, serious drugs, I guess. Like, I'm in the family of, I don't care if you do drugs, go for it, but, you know, if you can't live responsibly doing it, then that's where the issue is, which is, you know, more often than not the case, are, you know, more heavier drugs, not if you like to smoke, you know, a little weed, a little bit of the devil, or Beelzebub's basil, if you will. And yeah, so I got the fuck out of there. And shortly after, I got the internet, and well, by that time I found a whole bunch of internet skeptics, and slowly became more comfortable with the moniker atheist. And then flash forward about 6 years later, and I said, "Ooh, man, a lot of these guys are real racist." Maybe I don't want to identify with a lot of these guys anymore, or not even necessarily racist, although a lot of them are racist. But like really misogynistic, like, oh, you Sejul is and you special snowflake. Oppression doesn't exist. uh, oh, speaking of which, you can't in the Jehovah's Witness, you can't be a woman and preach. Can't do that. That's bad. Can't do it. I don't know why. Women are the weaker sex. They're just too weak to read, really. But of course, you almost certainly probably guess that there's a huge element of misogyny in here. And as most cults do, that hitting your kids is fine too. You just hit your kids. Just bop that boy over the fucking head. Just bop, done. If anything, I think you're being too light on your kids, because in the Bible it said to do it with a fucking cane. I don't have a cane here, and I also don't have a cosplay prop to show you something comically, but if you just... Actually, yes I do. Take one of these bad boys, stick it in their eye. They won't be disobeying you anytime soon. Oh, and another thing they love to do is, I think the big reason why they're so adamant on the whole like Jehovah thing, even if like a lot of literaries say like Yahweh is probably a little bit more accurate, is that they're very big on having you use their own specific terminology to refer to things. Like they're very big on that. Like you have to talk about this kind of shit on their terms, because they can use their own weird terminology, like basically disabling you from your everyday language, so you don't really have the same resource to fight back. Because a big part of it isn't necessarily putting a gun to your head and saying you have to do this, because it still does partially work if they can't ostracize you from people you know. But if they can just get you to fight this fight on their terms, then there's nothing really you can do about it. Yeah, so I said fuck that, and started playing video games, and I went back to playing video games, really, and found the skeptical community, I guess. And at the same time, this is in the very, very early days of the like analytics community, which like this is right around like when the Nostalgia Critic got really, really popular, and some of his buddies like made like more mindful work, if you will, like what's that guy's name? Jacob Chapman. Like I found a lot of that guy's videos. But I'm kind of rambling now, and I just learned to give the shit I like a lot more credence, because I just found that losing the things that I enjoy really put things into perspective. Because I like board games, and they, said no more fucking any of that fun shit like board games. So the only game I was playing was chess and Monopoly, and at some point they click with me. Those games are fucking awful, and there's a reason why I don't play them. So it really drove home the point of don't let other people, tell you what is and it's not fun. And that is like ultimately my love for nerdy shit is the thing that was the catalyst to get me to say no. And I think that's a thing that a lot of people who are very much religiously indoctrinated, be it in a regular religion or the borderline cult, don't really have, is something that they enjoy more than pretty much anything else that will always on some level affect their world view. Like it's very hard to get me to think of things like the way that they want me to than it is to like if I'm already thinking of things in terms of video games, you're not really gonna get me to do that otherwise. Or if you try really hard to, then it's just gonna come off as weird and awkward, and just uncomfortable, like that Hillary Clinton Pokemon Go to the polls. It comes off like that. But I kind of wonder if that's just a byproduct of the propaganda machine not really catching up with younger people. So I earnestly have to wonder if there like anyone like who's younger out there who is deeper rooted. It's not saying that you're like a cult leader, because if you're religious, that's fine. Like I'm not, I'm absolutely not. But if you are, it's cool. But I kind of wonder if you have more resources to make what you're saying more palatable to people that don't like prescribe to your kind of default worldview. Uh, would your arguments be more persuasive and be able to like fundamentally shake someone with a very different perspective, like, well, Christian memes, for example. Like saying, I don't know, my face when church is lit might be more resonant than, did you know our church is a Pokestop? So yeah, that's pretty much my experience with cults, and well, firsthand anyway. Then I got into metal music, so there you go. If you like this, that's weird because this is the first really, really personal video I've made, and only made it because I think it might have some kind of interesting entertainment value. So if you did, let me know. Let me know if you were ever in a cult, or if you don't want to be in a cult, or what's your favorite cult. Tell me, have you been in a more dangerous cult? Because he seems like on the lower end of cult. Like their thing seems to be they want you to live long enough to propagate and have a kid and tell them to also join the cult instead of you die at the end, so it doesn't matter. And there's not like there's not a top guy at Jehovah's Witnesses, so there's less of a cult of personality, which seems to be, a very different factor in a lot of these. Like, there's no one Superman that you're reporting to. I mean, there's Jesus, of course, but there's not like a one dude. Like, oh, Jehovah's Witness leader Bob raped someone. Like, yeah, people won't buy that. I mean, maybe they will, but that's more of a societal standards and views of rape rather than like a corrupted system of religion. How do I end these?